today I've come to realize that the front camera actually works. In one of my previous episodes, if you recall, I was struggling with using my back camera. I'm talking about my iPhone, guys. Yes, I'm filming on my iPhone. But turns out my front camera actually doesn't mirror. And even if it does mirror, I can flip it when I edit. And also, when I researched it, it said that the back camera was better than the front camera, but for some reason, the lighting just looks way better on this side than the other side. So I'm like, why was I struggling for so long on the other side when I could have just used the front camera all along? And obviously, I can now see that I'm recording and I don't have to take a 1 hour leap of faith and record myself and then not know if I'm actually recording, because that just is pure torture, but also helps me really have to trust. And, sometimes you gotta take a risk and exercise that muscle every once in a while. So, but that's just, yeah, that was painful. But here we are. Welcome back. I'm glad you're back if you are, because that means maybe you're new here, but also maybe you've seen some of my recent videos and you found them not horrible. So I'm glad you're here. Today, I have a couple routine things that I like to talk about and some of my favorites. But then we'll also get into the topic of the video a little bit later on as well. So today I unfortunately have some bad news. I don't have a beverage with me. And it's crazy to say that because literally just last episode I was talking about how crucial it was for me to have a beverage. However, it is the morning. I don't know if you can tell that it's the morning, if I look like I woke up somewhat recently, if I look like I haven't really talked to anyone yet today, but it is the morning. And that just means you get a little glimpse of me at a different time of day, because usually I've been filming these in the afternoon. So this is morning, Emily. Hello, nice to meet you. But I think because of that, I've just had water today. I don't really need caffeine. I try to, like I've said before, not have caffeine as soon as I wake up, but then sometimes in the afternoons I need a little pick me up. But anyways, all this to say, I don't have a beverage to show you, to display to you. You know that TikTok trend where the beverage comes into your hand. Anyways. But I can show you what I'm wearing today. So this is just a little top that I got a very long time ago, from Princess Polly. I talked about Princess Polly before. It's an Australian brand. Not all of it is exactly my style, but I feel like I found really good pieces that matched my vibe and what I'm comfortable wearing. And I'm also on the taller side, if you guys haven't met me in person. I don't know if I give tall energy or short energy as I'm sitting in a video. Did you envision that I'm short or that I'm tall? But I am tall, so some of their short dresses, I kind of have to get larger sizes so that they're not super short on me. Anyways, this is a top from Princess Polly. I got it online many years ago, I think in high school or college. I love it. It's just, I love a good V-neck. It's very flowy, comfy. The silk. Oh, I will say one downside of having the front camera is that I'm going to be looking at myself when I talk. So I need to keep center and look at that green dot. Okay. Committing that to my brain. So yeah, I love this top. It goes well with a lot of things. I think because it's a flowy top, I like to wear something tighter on the bottom. If you guys agree or disagree with loose on loose, at least on my body, isn't always flattering. So I like to match either loose top, tighter bottom, or a tighter top and a looser bottom, to kind of keep your figure and look chic. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. That was a quick little thing. And then now into some of my favorites. It's funny because I intentionally had to pick non-food items. I'm like, Emily, I can't be talking about food all the time. Yes, we get it. You love food, but let's talk about some other interesting things that you enjoy that aren't food. Okay, so first one, I'm going to talk about photography. So Growing up, I've always loved photography. My dad actually probably stirred up that love for photography for me. He's always had like a professional camera set up. And I mean, he probably did some learning online, but I mean, he's just an amateur photographer. He would take photos for like all of the events with my like school events, the photos with my friends and getting ready and stuff, and or like in our dresses before we go to like prom or something like that. And then also like a lot of dance photos. Like if you grew up as a ballerina, any literally anywhere you go that's new, like a new city, a beach, a vacation, you're always taking ballet photos. Now that I think back, I'm like, that's kind of crazy. Like we just did that all the time. But my dad had a really awesome camera and he'd bring that with him everywhere. And so we'd take really cool, professional looking photos at no price. And then also like my parents documented everything growing up, like camcorder, just videoed so many memories. And so because of that, I think like photography, videography was like always in my life, usually for capturing memories, but also my dad did enjoy the artistic side of it too. Like to be a photographer and invest in that type of equipment, you do need to have some interest beyond just capturing memories. It's also like the lighting and the color and like the specific frame that you're capturing, like what is the story behind it. Anyway, so I've always loved photography growing up. I probably had tiny cameras just for fun, but nothing legit. And then as I got a phone, an iPhone, like I loved playing around with the new techniques on the Apple iPhone. And I feel like it's just gotten better and better and better. You know, when portrait mode came out a few years ago, now with the iPhone 17, it's like so crisp. You know, all the photos and like you can zoom in so far and like you could basically take professional photos on an iPhone ish, right, for beginners. But I had never really had my own professional camera. And then for my birthday, David got me a Fujifilm. And I've known of some friends who have it. And I mean, this was a complete surprise to me. Like, some birthday gifts, you're like, oh, I kind of saw that coming. But some birthday gifts, you're like, wow, like, that's huge. And, like, you just sit there being grateful for, like, an hour. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have this now. It's like that childlike excitement. We need to have a little bit more of that in our adult mundane lives. But yeah, I was so excited to have this camera. I was so grateful. And it's just opened up a world of opportunities for me. What do we have? It's the Fujifilm X-T330, or is it X-T30 Model 3? I think that's what it is. I really had to try hard there. Yeah, X-T30 and then Roman numeral 3. I think that's what it is. So, and then I think we have just the lens that it came with if you got the kit. I think it's like 13 to 30 millimeter. I really should have done this research to fact check. I can't believe I'm just saying this not knowing if I'm saying the wrong thing or not. Maybe I'll just put in the comments if I did say the wrong thing, or edit this video. But that has been so much fun. Like, my favorite thing is to take up close photos of flowers and like photos of landscapes and stuff like that. And so going to a bunch of gardens and just like beaches and beautiful places has been really fun. And then recently I also did some like portrait photography. One of my friends just graduated from her PhD. I'm so proud of her. Like, she is superwoman. She's just like super, super ambitious and is hardworking. And I know that's a lot of education and grit to get through that. And I think she just went straight from her undergrad to PhD. Like, I don't know. She's just soared all the way through. And I know it's been hard at times for her, but just shout out to her if she's watching this video. I love you. But yeah, so she wanted some graduation photos just for memories, like portraits of herself with her family, friends. And I mean, that's the first, like, you know, booking I've gotten. It's not really a booking because she's just my best friend and like we had a lot of fun with it. But it was just cool to have like a specific event to prepare for and think about and edit afterwards and like curate this album and give it to her. And so I don't know, that's just a new exploration for me, a new hobby. I just I love the Fujifilm truly. Like I think if I were to buy a camera for myself, I would go crazy with the research. Like there's just way too many cool gadgets out there, but I think Fujifilm definitely was like the best purchase, at least for a beginner, and like it's easy to use. I think like something special about the X-T30 Model 3 is that the auto like works really well. So like truly if you are a beginner and just want to pick up the camera and not touch anything, the auto like is fantastic on that camera. I think I heard somewhere at least. And then with upcoming travels coming up, and I've also followed some people who are like professional travel cinematographers, and like that's so epic. Like I just think it's so epic being able to story tell and like have emotion come through just through film, like through crashing waves and mountains and the coloring of it, the lighting of it, the editing of it, the music of it. I think cinematography is it. I just have chills thinking about it. Like, I think it is a curated experience, right? Like it's not unedited footage, right? It's curated, but it does elicit a story. It does elicit memories. It does elicit something so core to the human experience, and that's why you get chills, right? And so I've just been really into that stuff lately, and I hope I have more opportunities to be able to foster that hobby and yeah, and be able to learn more. Another favorite, we're going into a completely different category, but okay, video games. So I've not been a gamer growing up, still am not a gamer. However, I'll maybe let David speak for himself at a later point. He's also not like a huge gamer, but he does enjoy video games. And so a few years ago, we started this game called It Takes Two. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but there are a bunch of like games out there that are two-player games, and it's like meant to like strengthen your relationship. It could be a romantic relationship or a friendship, but it's like you're meant to work together. Like you can't go off and it's not a competition. You can't go off and do it on your own and the other person catches up. Like you genuinely have to work together in the game. And so I think there are a few games out there that are really highly rated in terms of like couples will play it and it like strengthens their relationship. But It Takes Two has been really fun. We got it like many years ago actually, but we would just like do 5 minutes of it like every 2 months, and so we didn't really get through it. But recently we've picked it back up. And I think like I'm just getting more of the hang of it, right? Like when you got the controls down better and like have more fun with it. I think there was a little bit of a learning curve for me. But I mean it really does strengthen a relationship, right? Like inevitably, unless both of you have never like touched video games before, inevitably one person might have like a stronger experience with like just how to navigate like a video game or like a world, right? And because of that, because there's that like difference in knowledge and experience, it could cause arguments, right? Or it could cause like, come on, like you still haven't got it, like come on, let's go. So it really you can tell, right? It can exercise patience and like just teamwork, working together. But here I am promoting this game, It Takes Two. It's been fun. It's really like a beautiful game. It's really fun. They have mini games in there aside from like the larger mission. But yeah, that's something we've been playing recently, and yeah, it's fun. Something that I'm not used to really, but we're getting there. And then last favorite, we're like all over the place with these favorites in all types of categories, but it is this right here. The Lola blankets. Now, if you search Lola blankets right now, you will see that price tag and be like, come on, Emily, there's no way I am purchasing this. Now, I think like I've heard of Lola blankets for a really long time, but when we were moving, I was like, because like I have the Barefoot Dreams blanket, there are like a couple other fuzzy blankets I have. Cozy is my name. I love cozy. Wherever cozy is, I'm running there. Lola blankets is like a definition of cozy. And so I'd heard of it, but I never really like had a reason to buy it. But when we were moving, I was like, oh, this would be really nice. But I didn't get it immediately. But then like they have sales like just throughout the months and stuff. But they do have, I don't know what the cadence is, but every now and then they'll have like a massive sale and it's like over 50% off. And the first time I saw it, I literally clicked purchase immediately. I was like, I'm never going to get such a good price on such an expensive blanket. So I got it immediately. I think this is the large. Like, again, I'm rather tall. David's also tall. So it's like it works for both of us together. And it is so comfy. Like, it's slightly weighted. It's not a fully weighted blanket, but it's just like, especially when you like tuck it under your chin and you just like, snuggle. It's really, really comfortable. And then it's a great gift idea too. So around Mother's Day, they had like a spring collection come out, and it was like there was this fuchsia pink color, this like lighter lavender color, and I think there was something else. It might have been like a green color. But there was also a sale going on then, and I clicked purchase immediately. I was like, perfect Mother's Day gift, and my mom loves it, and I think like sleeps with it every night. So I do love a Lola blanket. I love, and like it does hold up nice like in the wash as well. Like it does feel exactly the same. I don't think it's like gone down in quality at all through washing it. And so I think I just like cold wash it and then I air dry it. Like not in the dryer, I hang it up and then I'll put it back in the dryer and go to the setting like air on our dryer. It says like air dry fluff. So it's supposed to help fluff things. And so you just toss it in the dryer without any heat and it fluffs it up. So, really well made. And I know they're doing a lot of like brand stuff, like marketing and promotions. Like they're really like out there. Like everyone's heard of this. So I'd be surprised if you haven't heard of this brand. Maybe if you're not in that part of the influencer world. But anyways, I love my Lola blanket. Highly recommend, but truly only if there's a sale. I mean, I don't know your financial circumstances, but if you like a deal, get it on a sale, during a sale. Okay, those are my favorites. Thanks for sticking with me in them. Let me know if there are any other categories of favorites you would want to hear about. Like, I do like makeup, but I'm not like purchasing new makeup regularly. Like, makeup is not my thing. Like, I wouldn't call it one of my things. So I wouldn't do makeup as favorites. I don't buy clothing like too often, even though I do like to talk about the clothing I do have. But yeah, I think experiences, food is normally my thing. But let me know. So the topic today, I haven't named this video yet. I don't know what it's called. So, but it's really just going to be about my experience growing up, with multiple cultures, right? I grew up in Richmond, Virginia. I was born in Richmond, Virginia at the St. Mary's Hospital. I think my mom had a great experience there. So if you're having a baby, I'm sure that will be a great experience for you. That's a weird thing to say. But yeah, I was born and raised there. But then, yeah, my parents immigrated from China. I think it was their, first plane ride ever was like literally from China to the US. And essentially, I think my parents got married. They were like in like 20 or 21. I don't remember, but like they were very young. They just got married. My dad came over first, I think. And so like right after they were married, they were actually like not together for like almost a year. And then my mom came over after. But they came and they did grad school. So they ended up choosing Virginia because of the school they ended up going to for their higher education. And just like the scholarships, like it was just like the best opportunity to take. And so that's why they ended up choosing Richmond, Virginia. I think a lot of at least Chinese people or other Asian immigrants like end up going to larger cities, right? Like New York, San Francisco, LA. And so I think a lot of people do ask like my family or my parents, like, why'd you end up choosing Richmond, Virginia? Like there might not be a ton of Asian community there. I think there's like, it's a lot more culturally diverse there now, I believe so. But growing up, not really. In the school I went to, not really. But Yes, so my heritage is fully Chinese. I have gone back to China like a lot in my life. I think growing up, it was pretty much every other year during the summers. And then I think going into high school or maybe just college, I wasn't able to go as often because of like internships and all sorts of things. But then after graduating from college, like with more flexibility and as I was getting a full time job and stuff, it was more about like, oh, when you can take PTO off season, right? And so, I mean, that's clutch. That's the thing about being an adult, like traveling off season when other people aren't traveling. Like, it's so much cheaper. It's like a way better experience. I mean, China can just be so hot, like in July and August. So it's cool to be able to go during Chinese New Year and see the festivities at that time of year, or like in December, or to go. I've been also going like for my grandparents' birthdays. Like I've never been there in September, in April, like all these random months. Like I think my brain has associated China with these like hot, sweltering memories. But that's not all that China is. And so we always go back to Beijing. So all four of my grandparents are there. And yeah, so we have also been to other, or I have also been to other parts of China, not many, but I have yet to kind of go as a travel experience. Like I primarily go to just visit my elderly family members. So anyways, yes, I'm Chinese, grew up in Virginia. My parents have, I think now, yeah, been in America way longer than they were in China for, which is a crazy thing, right? Like, I don't know, that just might, I can't imagine, right? Like growing up in a country, like for me, right? Like growing up in the US for now it's 26 years and then moving to a completely different country. And then I become 50 or 60. And then it's like, oh, now the US is no longer the place I've lived like most of my life in now. So I don't know. That's kind of hard to wrap my mind around, but kudos to my parents and all the other immigrants out there who did go through a lot and have to like totally switch up their mindset and embrace a new culture. But I'm really here talking about this topic here today because I think it's just so nuanced, right? Like when you do have grow up with multiple cultures, it can be really confusing on your identity and your experience and how you feel like you fit in or you don't fit in, how you see yourself, how it ends up changing as you get older, and then you end up moving to a new place, and then how it continues to evolve. I think like I don't know, the human experience is already really interesting, and then put in multiple languages, multiple cultures. Like I think it's really beautiful to hear people's stories, and I'm here to talk about mine. So, a couple things like, or I'll just go through kind of my list of things that I had written down. But one is yeah, growing up Asian in a community that isn't very Asian, and also going to a school that wasn't very Asian. So, kind of my experiences there. I think with school, I am really, really grateful. Like, even though that was a time where I think I was pretty much the only Asian, at least only East Asian for a few years. And I think maybe there were a couple other East Asians, but then there were other types of Asians as well. But again, very, very few, like, probably could count them on one hand. And one class year was about 120, 130 kids. But yeah, and like because I went to that school for 13 years, I think like I grew up with all my friends, right? And so like I'm really grateful because I think my wow, that's so sad. My phone stopped recording because I'm out of storage. I didn't realize my phone was out of storage. I knew I had laptop storage problems, but guess I have to deal with phone storage problems too. But hopefully we can continue recording. I deleted some stuff. Give me some tips if you have them. Okay, let's pick up where we left off. So, growing up at the school that I went to, I think like yeah, because I started at a very young age and at like yeah, like 4 or 5 years old, and around a bunch of other 4 or 5 year old kids, and we all grew up together. I think people just treated me as another different human being, right? And I don't know if this girl is watching this. She might be. But one of my best friends growing up, it was funny. She had like this cute short blonde hair, and then I don't know if I had long hair back then or short, but I have obviously this like thick black hair. And I just remember her loving my hair and like touching it all the time and being like, "Oh, your hair is so cool." And then I'd be like, "What do you mean my hair is cool? Like I think having blonde hair is so cool. Like how is your hair so like soft and like and just so bright and pretty?" And but I think it was just like us, we each just like acknowledged how pretty the other girl was, how each other were, and like I never was like, "Oh, I look so different," or like I'm ashamed of my hair or something. I was like, I love my hair, but I also love her hair. Like I just think it was I appreciate like in that moment or those that time of life really like sticks with me. And so if she's watching this, thank you. Maybe I mean you probably don't remember slash you weren't, I don't know if you were being intentional about it. I mean we were kids back then, but it impacted me in a positive way. So I'm very grateful. But yeah, I had a lot of those experiences like just positive ones. Maybe it's just I've blocked out any negative ones. Like I'm sure like we all have bad thoughts. We all like have make bad judgments of people, and so like I'm not saying it was perfect or like oh no one had any meanness or mean thoughts. Like I'm sure, right? That's inside all of us for different reasons. I just didn't think that I at least didn't come in contact with like too much like 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 sensitive comments or anything to do with like me being Asian and needing to be ashamed of that. So again, grateful for that. I think the school I went to also did teach us a lot of good values. I think it's crazy that I'm sitting here talking about this today because I never thought I would be talking about this, but I think it is important that the school had values and like we all learned to respect each other and treat each other with kindness. So yeah, so I think I generally had a positive experience growing up as someone Chinese in a more like white community. Let's see. Now this is more about family life and what my parents did in their parenting styles. This is huge. Like I could go on and on about this. Thank you, mom and dad, if you're watching this, for the way that you raised me. I think it was, I don't know. It might take me some more time to reflect on like more of the details, but more generally, I think like they were they are just very open-minded people. They're very willing to change, right? They're not stuck in their ways. And that, I mean, more than just culture, moving from China to coming to the States, more than that, like I think that is also like when there's generational differences, when you're just different, like every human is different from every other human, and like being willing to be open-minded and curious and change your opinions, like I think that is just a really good character trait to have, and I feel like my parents have that. They weren't like, oh, they do this and like we can't be like that and like we must, like they just didn't force a certain way of living on me. I'm also an only child. I don't think I've mentioned that. I don't know if I give only child energy. Sorry if I do. I know that's not like a positive thing. But yeah, so I think like they just didn't force any specific way of living on us or on me. And I think from a cultural perspective, like they didn't force like the Chinese culture on us. It wasn't like, well, we must do this because I grew up this way, and if you don't, that means you disrespect the Chinese culture. And then at the same time, they weren't trying to assimilate either. They weren't like, okay, we're in America, we must, like get like forget all the ways we grew up and like just be this new way of living because America's better and full of a land of freedom and opportunity, and we must be exactly like everyone else here and just like forget our roots. Like, so it just was neither of those, but it was just kind of like, I'm sure they had both positive and negative experiences from their upbringing in China, and then they brought whatever experiences they had and came here, met completely new people, new communities, and like, I think at the end of the day, what mattered to them was values. And values surpass, like, they knock down walls of culture, right? Like, values are about being human. And I think different cultures have different tendencies and preferences, but I think, like, at the end of the day, it's about values. And for them, for my parents, I think rather than being like, are we sticking to the Chinese culture or the American culture, it was more so about, like, what's right and what's healthy and what type of environment do we want Emily to grow up in. So I think I just appreciate that. I didn't feel anything that was forced upon me. One aspect, though, was language. They did want me to speak Chinese. I think there is this thing called Chinese school that a lot of Chinese American kids did. I think my mom tried to enroll me in that, but I just kept talking in class and they just took me out of it. So I don't really have experience with that. If you're watching and you do have experience with that and you wanted me to talk about that, unfortunately, I don't have too much experience with that. All I remember is that this girl was passing around gum and I loved that flavor of gum. Lame, right? So, sorry. Yeah, but, like, I think at home, my parents, like, wanted me to speak Chinese all the time. And at the time, I was like, but, like, because there were other Chinese kids around, like, even though it wasn't super popular, there was a Chinese community in Richmond, Virginia. And I just remember being like, well, they don't have to speak Chinese. Why do I have to speak Chinese? But as you probably could tell, like, I am so grateful that I'm, like, very fluent in Chinese. I mean, at this point in life, I'll talk about, it's my interaction with the Chinese culture is very different now, probably compared to before, just because of the makeup of my friends and community. But so I think at this point in life, I'm kind of, like, middle of the road. Like, I know people who are like me that are more fluent in Chinese and more in touch with their culture. And then I know people who have a similar background to me, but are less in touch with culture and language. So I think, like, but I think just relatively, though, I'm pretty fluent colloquially in Chinese. Like, I can't talk, like, history, philosophy, like, religion and stuff like that. But, like, surface level, like, when I go back to China, I don't feel like I don't fit in. Like, I can talk pretty well. I mean, I think Chinese people can always tell if you're, like, you give Western vibes, right? But I think other than that, language-wise, I feel like there's not as much barrier there because I speak Chinese pretty well. Also, because my family is from Beijing, there's a specific accent from Beijing that makes you sound even more authentic. So I feel like even if my vocab isn't that good, like, my like, authentic way of saying things carries me a long way. But anyways, this is just appreciation for my parents that they did want me to speak Chinese. Like, it wasn't about, like, you must live a Chinese life, but it was like, language is good for the mind, and you're gonna have two languages growing up, and, like, you're gonna appreciate that. And I very much do. I very much appreciate being bilingual, because it's like, I feel like I didn't work for it, and yet somehow I have two completely different ways of speaking in my mind. Crazy how the human brain works. But yeah, so just to tie out, like, the family life stuff, yeah, like, I feel like my parents, they weren't stressing, like, you must have this identity and you must be like this, but it was just more fluid. And like, I feel like they did retain the Chinese culture, right? Like, for me, I didn't feel like they hid it from me or ashamed of it. Like, excuse me, like, we did go back to China very often. Like, we cooked Chinese food at home, and, like, when my friends came over, like, they would let my friends try some of, like, their Chinese cooking, and they were obsessed with it. And, like, or go out to Chinese restaurants with my friends. And I don't know, my parents are just very open. They raised me in a very natural way, in combining these, the various cultures. And I mean, I think they're also pretty extrovert. My mom's probably more extroverted than my dad, but they're both, like, they love talking to people. And so, like, when I made friends at school, they were very willing to meet the parents and get along and then have play dates and sleepovers. Like, I feel like they were just really supportive in terms of, like, me making friends with all sorts of people. And then they just became besties with their parents. And, like, yeah. So I just felt like it was a very welcoming, like, way to grow up just in that environment. And just how my parents fostered that type of upbringing for me. So that's that. And then, yeah, so just to sum up, like, kind of how I felt, just like childhood and Asian American identity, I think like every Asian American has a really unique experience. It's really funny because I think most of the conversations out there about the American experience are like more about, do I feel more Asian or do I feel more American? Like, and then they've kind of curated this like, well, there is a specific Asian American experience, right? Like some people just are just Chinese, and some people are just white American, and some people, but then there's now been this curated like Asian American experience. Like a lot of people have a very similar Asian American experience, but I feel like even in doing that, even in meshing these two cultures, like we've now created this third strand of like, if you're Asian American, you must have this type of experience, which I feel like is different because depending on what part of the country you grew up in and like who your friends were and yeah, what you came in contact with, I feel like they are just very bespoke life experiences. And so I have mine, and this is what I'm sharing about now. Now, going to college, it was very different. I remember getting to college and meeting people who knew how to use chopsticks, meeting Asians who knew how to use chopsticks, which, like, duh, of course Asians know how to use chopsticks. But I was like, you're an Asian that can also use chopsticks? That was me at 17. Like, are you kidding me? That's crazy. But then also, like, I think being at Princeton, there are just people from so, like, super, super diverse, right? Different countries. Also, like, people, even if they grew up in America, a lot of, like, kids of immigrants, very, very open-minded, yeah, diverse in life experience. And so, like, I feel like even, like, everyone, even that wasn't Asian, knew how to use chopsticks. Like, I just was like, this is crazy. Like, I was just so inspired. Like, I was like, I love being here. This is so cool. But yeah, my little world definitely got a lot bigger when I got to college, and it was just really cool. And I did feel seen. Like, I felt like, I think I in recent years have asked myself, like, was I able to be myself growing up? If I feel like I couldn't relate to, if other people couldn't relate to specific parts of me. And I don't think I, intentionally like shoved anything away, but I think like when I went to college, a new part of me did, I think it came out. Just like, yeah, maybe I was even more authentic and even more like, oh, there's truly nothing to be ashamed about. And like, just embracing like all different, yeah, types of cultures and stuff. So yeah, I think going to college was very different for me. And then obviously moving to New York and then traveling to California, going to places like SF and LA, like, I'm like, wow, there are places with very dense Asian populations in America. Like, I was like, even just because I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, is like drastically different from if I were to grow up in a place like New York as an Asian American. And so, I think my appreciation for Asian food has definitely increased as well. Like being in just such close proximity to such good food. But I think it's not just Asian food. I think there's just such good food from everywhere around the world in a place like New York. So like, I think my appreciation for culinary experiences has grown in general. And yeah, I'm continuing to visit China regularly. My grandparents are getting pretty old. My dad's dad is 97, 98. I don't know, but he's getting up there. And, it's just hard to forego an opportunity to go visit them. I just feel like I want to take advantage. And yeah, like, I think that's a whole other story. Like, growing up without, a lot of extended family that I think a lot of my friends had growing up, especially like you go to your grandparents' house and so that was very different for me. And, I didn't feel like a lack per se, but I think one thing after I've gotten older is like, I just have so much appreciation for the wisdom that older people have. Like, truly, years give you wisdom, right? And so like, I just almost wish I could pick the brains of each of my grandparents and be like, tell me everything about your life. But there's also like a language barrier too. So like I can't say everything that I want to say. But yeah, I'm really grateful that they're doing really well. And yeah, they care a lot about health and like, living healthy lifestyles. So I think that's helping them just enjoy their life and live a little bit longer. Um, yeah. And okay, let's in good old fashioned what am I trying to say? I've done this in previous videos, but some rapid fire questions. So, what stereotypes about Asian families don't fit your experience? I think like oh, here's one thing I didn't touch on is like the tiger parent mentality. Like I feel like sure, my parents wanted me to work hard and like put academics first, but like they weren't forcing me to like go a certain direction. Like you must go to this school or you must get this type of job. Like I think it was just more the values they imparted on me, like work hard, don't get distracted and don't take things for granted. I think those things were cemented in me, but not any like and I guess like when it came to like tests and SAT, ACT stuff, it was like, come on, Emily, like you got to do better, like focus harder, like, you know, but I think that's just like caring about academics. I think beyond that there wasn't too much like I think specifically when it came to college and career, which I've heard a lot of tiger parents push a lot on that. For that, my parents were very like pretty hands off. It was just more so growing up like as a kid, like Emily do your math, Emily do your science, like that type of stuff. Um, let's see. Looking back, what did your parents get right? I touched on this already, but like, I think the biggest thing was just not putting me in a box. They weren't like, Emily, you're Chinese. You must do this or not do this or think this way or not think this way. Like, they never were like that. And I think also they didn't, no one's perfect, but I think like they didn't behave or raise me in a way that was like a response to trauma or a response to any negative things experiences they had in their upbringing, because I think sometimes that can cause a parent to go overboard on the other extreme or something like that. But I think for them, they took the good and the bad, and then they saw the new good and the bad in the new culture that they arrived in. And yeah, so I think it was just really really healthy. um let's see. What parts of your upbringing do you think you'll carry forward if you have children? I think like, embedded in me, like there's as much as I like identify as an American and like was very shaped by like non-Chinese cultures, I do think like there is Chineseness embedded in me, like the foods that I like to eat and like yeah, I think it's not something I can put my finger on, but I'm sure like my kids will experience that just by experiencing me, right? Like I am the way I am, a large part because I have these different cultures, right? And then I think language wise, like I think inevitably because I do speak Chinese and like David speaks pretty good Chinese actually, he's half Chinese. I think inevitably like my kids will probably learn some Chinese. I think David's actually more passionate about teaching our kids Chinese than I am. But purely from a mental aspect, like I think being bilingual is clutch. Um, what do you appreciate now that you didn't appreciate as a kid? Definitely the language aspect. And this is specifically like what I didn't appreciate as a kid, like culturally. Um, I think like I maybe didn't realize like how good I did have it, because like so many people do have poor experiences when it comes to looking different from everyone else and stuff like that. And again, I don't want to preach that I had a perfect upbringing, but I think like all things considered, I am really grateful, and I didn't realize how grateful I should have been until later, and I saw how it could have been gone so many different ways. It's really unfortunate. So I'm really appreciative. What's something people consistently misunderstand about your experience? I think there's always misunderstanding, like whether I meet someone who knows nothing about China or whether I meet someone Chinese that doesn't get the Western way of things. Like, it's always going to feel a little bit like you need to over justify yourself or like defend something and be like, well, this is who I am and this is, yeah, why I am the way I am. But I think, like, ultimately, no matter what your unique experience is, just be confident in it. Like, you are a unique person, and you are not your experiences, but your experiences do mold and shape you. And so I think not putting yourself in a box is really important. But I think there is a lot of misunderstanding and having grace towards people who do misunderstand, right? Like, you probably misunderstand them too. So, but ultimately, I want to end this video saying, like, I owe my parents a lot, and well, not actually, and they wouldn't want me to say that, but I am really grateful. I feel like I've said that I'm grateful like 20 million times in this video, but the world is a tough place to be in, and especially with the invention of air travel and like truly being able to bring cultures together. When you bring different people together, inevitably, because people have their own pride and issues, it's like you bring different people together, there's misunderstanding, miscommunication, harshness, self-righteousness, people think they're better. Like, ultimately, there's a lot of pain there. And so I think it's a tricky thing to navigate, but I think you have to, like, I think what I thought was most important was, yeah, go back to your values. Like, go back to what it means to be human, not this culture or that culture or this color of your skin, that color of your skin. Like, yeah, so that was a lot. I am glad this video is still recording. I hope this resonated with you. If you have some sort of multicultural experience, if you have experience with mainly one culture, I hope this maybe opened your eyes, or changed some of your, preconceived notions or misconceptions or anything like that. Not misconceptions, but just opened your perspective a little bit wider, So, love you guys, and I hope you will continue to stick around with me. I'm going to say, please subscribe. Please throw a like there or a comment. Like, I would love to engage with you guys. Maybe I'd love for you to, it's always hard for the first person to put a comment and like tell a story about their life, but I'd love to hear your experiences as well. It's okay if the comment section is empty. I won't take it personally, but I'm just going to continue to ask you guys to tell me about you guys and like your experiences and how they are similar or dissimilar to what I've explained in my video. So I hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye.